Starting at the wee age of 3 years old, I've been playing racing video games for the last 20 years. Whether it be the Black Box era Need for Speed titles, the early Dirt games, the Forza series, or more obscure games such as PGR3 and Full Auto, I've played a large variety of different racing video games over the years. I'm enthusiastic about all types of racing games, but having said that, as I've gotten older, I've noticed my preference has shifted more towards track racers like Forza Motorsport over open world racers like Forza Horizon or Need for Speed. As a child, I found it hard to enjoy track racers, but with each passing year, I enjoy track racers more and more, while I enjoy open world racers less and less. This conflicts with my previous statement that I'm enthusiastic about all types of racing games, which I generally am, but in the last several years, I haven't been able to help but feel disappointed by the recent state of open world racing video games. On the other hand, I have a consistently growing passion for track racers, and this is due to several reasons. In track racers such as Forza Motorsport, Gran Turismo, or Assetto Corsa, you're given a lot of variety in terms of the environments in which you can race. Whether it be Lime Rock, Road America, Road Atlanta, the Nürburgring, or the plethora of other tracks typically available for your enjoyment in track-focused racing games, this massive variety in track selection will rarely, if ever, leave you feeling bored. If you get bored of one track, you can choose another one, and if you get bored of that track, you can choose another one, and so on. This variety in track selection helps track racers stay fresh and interesting. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for the majority of open-world racing games. In most open-world racing video games, you're given one map to race on, with potentially an expansion or two after the game has been out for a while. The only exception to the standard that comes to mind are the first 3 Midnight Club games. In these games, you can choose between racing in San Diego, Atlanta, and Detroit in Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition, Paris, Los Angeles, and Tokyo in Midnight Club 2, and New York City, London, Los Angeles, Paris, Tokyo, San Diego, Atlanta, and Detroit in Midnight Club 1. This variety in location does wonders in keeping these games exciting, as you're not just racing in one singular location. In more modern open-world racing games, you're given one map to race and explore, and while these maps are fun and exciting in the beginning, this feeling, unfortunately, doesn't last. After a few weeks have passed and I've raced the whole map and have seen all there is to see, I find little, if any, reason to continue playing. This, unfortunately, has been my experience with the last 3 Forza Horizon titles. After spending a few weeks exploring the map and working my way through the early career races, my desire to continue playing rapidly dwindles. This is largely because there's nothing new to see, and also because the races feel monotonous and repetitive to me. Becoming the Horizon champion isn't incentivizing enough for me to pour countless hours into these games, and therefore, I haven't been able to finish the main story mode in Forza Horizon 3, 4, and 5. Once I've done the early career races, I have zero desire to continue playing. I've only briefly tried Forza Horizon 2, so I can't say anything on that front. The only Horizon game I've finished is Forza Horizon 1, and this is because I had something to work towards, beating Darius Flint. 12-year-old me found the characters in Forza Horizon 1 alive and intriguing, and the drive to take down Darius Flint was addicting. It felt like there were stakes on the line. The same can be said about the original Need for Speed Most Wanted and Need for Speed Carbon. Beating Razor at the end of Most Wanted 2005 and winning back the iconic 2005 BMW M3 GTR is one of the most euphoric feelings on the planet, and the same can be said about beating Darius at the end of Need for Speed Carbon and putting him in his rightful place. There was anger and a sense of revenge in these games, followed by immense reward and satisfaction, and it made them incredibly addicting. I never got bored of the maps in these games because the focus wasn't on the maps, but rather the journey of beating the bad guys who did you dirty. In modern open-world racing games, especially every Forza Horizon beyond FH1, the drive to beat the bad guy and take back what's rightfully yours doesn't exist. You're given everything from the beginning with everyone as your friend, and all this does is make the narrative feel fake and hollow. There's nothing to work towards, and it kills the desire to play. For this reason, as I've gotten older and as open-world racing games have transitioned from corny yet intriguing stories to aimless sandboxes, I found myself gravitating more toward track-focused racing games. The satisfaction of beating a personal best in a time attack session and moving higher up on the leaderboards gives me a feeling very reminiscent of the one I felt whenever I beat Razor in Need for Speed Most Wanted 2005 when I was a child. Not to mention, track racers allow me to choose between dozens of tracks to race, which means I'm rarely left feeling bored as I'm not racing the same environment over and over again. Because there aren't any stakes on the line or big rewards bestowed upon you at the end of the modern Forza Horizon titles, they rely on exploration to fill this gap. The problem is that once I've explored the whole map, which only takes a few weeks, if that, there's zero reason to continue playing. There's nothing fun, rewarding, or enticing about being endlessly and effortlessly given cars and credits that I never intend on using. Now, on the other hand, you can take it way too far in the other direction, and then it becomes an annoying grind. The recent Forza Motorsport reboot is a perfect example of this. For the best experience, there needs to be a middle ground between the Oprah Winfrey approach of Forza Horizon and the annoying grind of Forza Motorsport 2023, and it seems like developers, especially Playground Games and Turn 10 Studios, have a hard time finding this sweet spot. With that said, however, I say this primarily in regard to open-world racing games. When I play a track-focused racing game such as Forza Motorsport, I am not playing for the story/career mode. Career mode is an afterthought in track-focused racing games, and developers do this because they know people don't play track racers for career mode. In my case, I play track-focused racing games for time attack and multiplayer racing, and therefore, spending hours unlocking cars and performance upgrades is nothing but annoying. Just last week, I wanted to get on Forza Motorsport for a time attack session, but then I realized I didn't have the car I wanted to use, and it would have taken me hours to fully level it up to be competitive, so I instantly quit the game and played Hogwarts Legacy instead. A potential solution to this problem lies in customizable progression systems. Imagine a game where players tailor their experience to their desired playstyle. For those who want quick access to cars and upgrades for immediate competitive play, there could be an option to opt out of the extensive grind of the base game. On the other hand, players who want a more immersive experience could choose a traditional progression system where they gradually build up their skills and car collection with time. Another idea is one in which developers allow the game to dynamically adjust the progression system based on player preferences. If a player leans more towards time attack and multiplayer racing, the game could intelligently streamline the progression system for them, recognizing that the narrative or career mode might be less of a focus. Ultimately, this would allow players to make meaningful choices and have agency over their experience with the game in question. Regarding track racers like Forza Motorsport, where the story/career mode is often an afterthought, this system would allow people to dive straight into the heart of competing without feeling burdened by a mandatory grind. With all that said, this video is coming to an end. Make sure to like, comment your thoughts down below, and don't forget to subscribe. Otherwise, the Teletubbies will stalk you in your sleep tonight. Thank you for watching.